Raise your hand if you've ever had trouble measuring something on your body when you're solo fitting. I have a cool tool for you today that can make quick work of solo measuring parts of your body that are awkward. What I have is, I have basically a sticky tape that is also a measuring tape. It's got the inches and the quarter inches, the eighths, and actually the 16ths printed on this tape. And I realized when I was trying to measure my own arm, that gets to be kind of crabby, because if you're working with a traditional tape measure, the idea is you want to be able to hold it at the tip of your shoulder and then also measure, while you're trying to keep your arm bent like this. And it gets a little fussy. So what I've discovered is I'm going to roll out approximately the length of tape I think I need. I'm going to leave the end of the tape on the roll though, so it doesn't curl up. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to feel for the tip of my shoulder. And if I were doing this myself, like really measuring, I would look in the mirror, find the tip of my shoulder, and I'm going to stick that on there, right at the tip of my shoulder, like this. And then notice what I can do here. I can literally run this tape right down my arm to where I'd like it to end up on my wrist. Okay, and then all I have to do is add up the inches. And it's kind of cool because I can bend my arm really tight if I want to see what would happen. You can see when I bend my arm really tight, I get all these loose bumps. So that can also kind of show me, how much my arm grows. But I just feel like this is a really nice way, because I can take this tape, stick it around my elbow, and then end up at my wrist. So you can see I've measured my entire arm. And so you always want to take this measurement with your arm bent, because then you'll make sure you have enough length in your sleeve, for example. So see, I've bent my arm, I've measured my shoulder. So then what I can do is, I'm just going to tear off where we are here, or actually I'll just use my little scissors, and I'm just going to snip the tape where I want my sleeve to end. So see, I've got it all set. And here's the cool thing. I can take this off, okay, and I can get my sleeve pattern, which I have right here. Now this sleeve I'm working on has a cuff as well, and I know the cuff contributes 2.5 inches to the length. Take my tape and I can stick it to the actual seam allowance at the top of the cap, and then I can just tape it straight down my pattern like this. Okay, so I can see what the length of my sleeve is compared to the length of my arm. And you can see this is working out nicely for me, because if I move the pattern down here, the sleeve is going to have a nice amount of length, because I ended at right where I cut it, and that's 2.5 inches longer than my sleeve pattern. So I know for me and this sleeve, I don't have to adjust my pattern. But if I laid the tape on here and it wasn't long enough, I could then make the proper adjustment to lengthen or shorten my sleeve. Now, this has got a series of, it's marked in feet, so it does 1 inch to 12 inches, 1 inches to 12 inches, 1 inches to 12 inches. So if you want to put the tape on just to get a quick measurement, you can use that as well, versus, trying to do it with a standard tape measure. Another thing I could see myself using this for is to mark my bust span, right? So I can stick this on here, and if you're trying to mark part or measure part of your body, and you want to keep it as a reference for something else, you can actually leave it on while you're taking other measurements. So let's say you wanted to mark, or measure from the tip of shoulder across your neck to your tip of shoulder in the front, right? You can do that, and then you can take the tape off and, see what the measurement is. Now, as I'm working with this video, shooting this cool tool for you, the other thing that occurred to me is I'm going to put 2 Amazon affiliate links here, because part of me is thinking, if you want to have the inch markings on the tape, this is the perfect option. Another tape you can use if you don't need the numbers is painter's tape. Something to stick onto your body, cut it the length of your measurement, take it off and compare it to the dimensions on your pattern. So you don't need to use a sticky tape to measure all the things, but on things like, measuring your arm and comparing it to your sleeve, or even things in the back. So like if I wanted to measure my across back, I could put this on, feel for my tip of my shoulder here, and it stays. So see, if I turn this way, you can see it stays. And then I can reach across to the tip of the shoulder here, right? And I've got that measurement across my back. And it's almost like using Velcro on the pants fitting waistband. It just gives you a second hand to help you measure things. You can even use it to measure your crotch. And I would say that, because it sticks, right, you can leave it there, reach around, and this piece isn't big enough, but basically I could feel until I get it up to the top and then cut it. And then basically it's not falling around. So I just thought this could be helpful when you're solo measuring yourself, especially if you've got a sore shoulder or other things that make it hard for you to reach and hold a tape measure. And then additionally, if you decide that you want to transfer your measurement, or if you want to put this on your pattern, you can stick it on your pattern piece and just leave it there, and then you'll know exactly what it is. So I think this sticky tape measure tape is a fun little tool to have in your box when you need it. My roll is very old. I don't know if you remember this, but I purchased this tape many years ago now when I was trying to use it in pants fitting. So I was wrapping it around my body and then comparing it to the dimensions on the pattern. And I had some of this tape left over. I think I'm going to get myself a fresh roll, because now that I'm using it just to measure things that are tricky to measure, I definitely need a fresh roll in my toolbox. So I think this is a nice, sticky, cool tool. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below and I will help you. If you're enjoying my content, please consider subscribing, because it helps my channel grow. And speaking of that, apparently when I shot my video last week and I said, oh, I only need 200 subscribers to get to 50,000, I needed 1,200 subscribers. So I hadn't had enough coffee when I was looking at my back end of my YouTube channel, at my analytics there. So basically now I need about 1,000. So next time I'm going to drink my coffee before I make any of these, number specific announcements. But really, I just want to thank everybody for following along with me. I really appreciate it. I love sharing cool tools, fit tips, and sewing, design, and construction on this channel. So thank you so much for following along with me, and have a lovely rest of your day.